Hello friends, Jennifer here, and today I will be sharing with you a quick and simple Hello friends, Jennifer here, and today I will be showing you how to create a quick and simple thank you card using the Close to My Heart Springtime Wishes Clear My Acrylic Stamp Set and the Coordinating Springtime Wishes Thin Cut Die Set. If you have not had the opportunity to check out these new thin cuts from Close to My Heart, I highly encourage you to do so. They are simply fabulous. They come in the standard Close to My Heart 6x6 stamp storage envelope, as well as inside the envelope they come in a little plastic bag, which is labeled, and then on a magnetic carrier sheet. And look at that, they won't come off. Isn't that great? And then these beautiful, simple little dies, which are not sharp to the touch, are great for cutting the images on the stamp set. I've gone ahead and pre-cut the ones that we'll need for today. So let me go ahead and get this out of the way, and we'll go ahead and get started right away with the card. So the card we're gonna make features the Charlotte paper pack and is just simple, clean, and classic. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing you'll want to do is grab your 8.5 by 11 white daisy cardstock, or which you can cut down, your 12 by 12 white daisy cardstock, which you can cut down to 8.5 by 5.25, or by 5.5. Or you can use the White Daisy value pack of cards, which I typically use, but I'm currently out of. So I just cut myself a piece of White Daisy cardstock, scored it halfway, and then I'll just go ahead and use my bone folder to crease it. And then we'll go ahead and set that out of the way. And I like to get started with my stamping. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp our leaves and our sentiment on this smaller piece, and then we do need to stamp one of the flowers on one of the die cut pieces. I will put all of the dimensions for this card on my blog, and I will leave a link down below in the comments so that you can just hop over there and get the dimensions. But we're going to go ahead and use Whisper ink. So I will open up my ink pad here, and I like to have a scrap piece of paper when I'm stamping because I like to be able to stamp off any excess ink that I don't need. And I just got ink on my paper, so we'll flip it over. The benefit to cardstock, right? You can just simply flip it over if you make a mistake or get ink on it where you don't want ink. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to use the two leaves, we're going to put them down in the lower left hand corner. So go ahead and stamp those right about there. Give the ink a second to transfer to the paper. We'll lift up, stamp that off. See, there's barely any ink left because we gave it that time to stamp right down to the paper. Then we're going to go ahead and take our sentiment, and we'll use the sorbet ink. And we're going to want to, tap, tap, wiggle, wiggle, tap, tap. We'll ensure you get good coverage of your ink. Some sort of a fuzzy on there, probably from my sweatshirt. So then we'll go ahead and stamp our sentiment right up here in the upper right corner. Again, leaving a second firm pressure to transfer that ink. Then we will need to take and stamp on a small sliver of the double-sided Charlotte B&T paper. We are going to stamp the sub sentiment in this collection. So this one says, "Thank you for your kindness." We'll stamp that in the Whisper. And I'm going to stamp it a little bit off to the right because we are going to dovetail the end. Go ahead and press that down. I love stamping on B&T. It's so pretty, especially with the subtle patterns in this Charlotte set. You can get away with stamping and seeing your sentiment or your image through the stamping. Then we're also going to go ahead and take this larger flower, which is just simply beautiful. We're going to stamp that with our gray, ink that up with our gray. with our whisper. And we'll go ahead and stamp that onto this thin cut here. Pardon my head if it gets in the way. Go ahead and stamp that down. Give that a second to transfer. And there we go. Now, isn't that wonderful? By running that die through my Cuttlebug, I was able to cut out the exact image that I was able to then stamp on. I absolutely love it. Saves that tedious, fussy cutting that we all love to hate. That comes with a lot of shaped images. And Close to My Heart still has our beloved Cricut collections. However, the thin cuts are just another fabulous tool for our crafting arsenal. I'm going to go ahead and close up the Whisper ink here. However, I do want to keep the sorbet open because we are going to take a sponge, and I just have to find my sorbet sponge here. We're going to add a little bit of ink. I like to add, this was a full round sponge, but I cut it into several wedges, and as you can see, I have a case here that I have all of my sponges in, and then I have a labeled little sheet here that tells me which one is which. And by cutting my sponges into wedges, I can get about 6 wedges out of a sponge, and it helps stretch my sponges a lot farther. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take, and using the corner here, I'm going to ink it up with some of that sorbet ink, and I'm going to start in the center of the flower and just swirl my way out to add some color to this beautiful flower. It just gives a soft, almost watercolored look, but it's just another way to add a splash of color to your stamped images. And we'll do it once more, kind of go the other way. Fill in some of the spots that I missed. And you can go as dark or as light as you want, go as far out as you want. You're just kind of blending the color there. So we'll go ahead and set that aside for a moment. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close up my sorbet ink just so I don't get ink all over myself or my sweatshirt. And then we'll go ahead and put our card together now that we have all of our pieces. Move my scrap paper out of the way. I do need to grab my foam tape here. Actually, I'm going to grab I have some very small, thin foam dots that I like to use, little foam squares. So we'll go ahead and grab those. I'm going to dovetail the end of my sentiment here. And the best way to do that is to cut right up the middle and then simply cut to the center, from the corner to the center. Cut out 2 little triangles. That'll help you be even and get that pretty dovetail that always looks so hard to achieve. Get rid of those scraps there. All right, let's go ahead and put this card together real quick. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some adhesive on the back of this champagne piece of cardstock, which again, I will leave all these dimensions on my blog. And I'm going to adhere the champagne to a piece of Whisper White. Then I'm going to, add some adhesive to the back of our stamped piece and apply that roughly centered to the top, and leaving even amount of space between the two. Center it on the cardstock, and then I also drop it down about that same distance. I can also come from the top, if that makes any sense. It's been kind of a long day. So I put that there like that. Then I grab a strip of the Charlotte B&T and go ahead and just add some adhesive to the back of here. And adhere that down here. And that will run the full distance, full width across all of the layers. I will also at this time add a little bit of adhesive to the back of the sentiment here for your kindness, and I will layer that here. And then you're supposed, well, not supposed to, you can do whatever you want, right? We're crafters. We march to the beat of our own drum. But anyways, in the original card, I used some of the beautiful black and gold ribbon, and I wrapped that around and then tied a little knot and used a glue dot to adhere a little knot onto this paper. But I have run out of the black and gold, so I decided to use the coral shimmer trim, which coordinates beautifully with the sorbet ink. And so I'm going to just run a piece of the coral shimmer trim. Let's see here. I actually think I want to lift this layer back up and drop it down just a little bit. And I will add a piece of the coral shimmer trim here across the top of that for a little added interest instead of the black and gold ribbon. And then I'm just going to flip this over and trim my edges here. Trim that right off. Get that out of the way. It looks like I had a little bit extra adhesive there. We'll take that off. Then we'll go ahead and we will add some adhesive to the back of this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add some foam tape because I love white on white layers, but I do love to give a little bit of definition between the two. So I'm going to cover that adhesive up with my foam tape. And we'll add a little bit of dimension there. A little piece of adhesive stuck on my hand. And we will go ahead and put one more piece right in the center here. Peel that backing off. And then just go ahead and center it here on the card front. Once you've applied that, then grab your little stamped flower. Also put some foam tape or foam squares like I have here on the back. Peel off all the backing. I love these little foam squares, but I swear peeling off the backing is the worst part. Ah, and it stuck to my fingernail. One more. And then we will go ahead and line this up. Kind of like it about like that. Fill it in there. And one more final touch. I have the Bling Gem assortment in gold. You get 72 pieces, 3 different sizes, 2 different shades of gold. And I want to use one of these medium gold here. We use the lighter shade of gold. We'll apply that right to the center of our star, or of our flower, I'm sorry, for a little added embellishment. And that is our final card. I would love if you would leave me a comment below and let me know if you like the black and gold ribbon better or the shimmer trim. It's a matter of personal preference, but I would love to hear what you think. And that's it for today. If you would like to purchase any of the products seen in today's video, feel free to head on over to my online store at jddesigns.ctmh.com. I will leave a link below in the comments below. And I would be happy to help you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I would be glad to answer them for you. And I will see you next time. And as always, remember to design with heart. Thank you. Bye-bye.